So we're gonna try something different this round. We're gonna do 3 news topics in under 15 minutes.
You can call it rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Yes, and this one happens to be all about stupid fast cars on this one. So we're gonna talk about the Dodge Demon, a Zonda R, I think, Zonda R, and what was the other one? The Ford GT.
Okay.
So let's start with Ford GT because AJ's got the story on what is going on over there in that land.
Well, with the Ford GT, what happened recently is so they sold one at the Mecum Auto Show. Was it Mecum or Barrett?
Mecum.
Mecum.
Yeah.
I think it was Mecum.
Yeah.
So it sold for $1.9 million. Well, what happened is the guy that had the car, that purchased the car, I think his last name is Miller.
I think so too.
I think it's Miller.
It was Miller.
Yeah, we don't know who he is, but he sold the car at auction. It sold, and then a second person bought it, and now it's up for auction again. And Ford tried to stop it, and they tried to actually stop this guy, the second person, from selling the car at auction, but he never had a contract with Ford.
So they can't stop him.
But the big thing in the story is this car went for almost $2 million at auction. That's the crazy story. And now what are the guys going to do that have the Ford GTs now? Because I think this one had under 50 miles when it sold twice. And you know, are these guys going to be parking their cars? Are we ever going to see a Ford GT on the road again?
Yeah.
Just so they can jack up the price, because now they set the bar at almost $2 million.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? And I think Ford is trying to stop that, because if this car does sell again and say it gets more money, then these guys are definitely think they're sitting on a freaking gold mine.
Yeah, they're gonna park them, and it's just gonna drive the cost of that.
And you're never going to see them.
Yep.
You're never going to see those cars.
You'll see them towed in to big shows, but you won't see them anywhere else. Yeah. That's kind of like. First of all, Ford, I don't know why the fuck you did that anyway. I think that's the most ridiculous thing ever to be like, oh, here's our supercar, nobody can have it, and make it stupid exclusive. I understand why, but you're losing out on that money because people are doing the auctions, because they're gonna get around you.
Well, I think there's, the reason why they did what they did is because in past with other vehicles, high-end vehicles, what happens is that when they do get a high-end vehicle, like they did with the first Ford GT, people were buying them, okay, sitting on them, and then selling them on eBay. And they were getting more money than Ford was getting for the cars. So, one, the cars are not seen. Number two, they're jacking up the price on the cars. And that's why Ford did what they did. They didn't want people to buy the cars and put them in the garage and sell them and bring up the market value of the car or whatever. You know, so I think that's why they did this with the people that were buying, the selected people that they let buy the cars, that they were actually going to drive the car was going to be seen, and they couldn't sell the car. And I think that was just to lower this bidding war that people are having on trying to get these cars. So I can kind of see why Ford did it. Ferrari did it with their cars. You know, you have to be picked. You have to, you know, before you can buy this model, you had to have at least two of these Ferraris before or whatever. So, you know.
I get it, but at the same time, it's a car. You know, if someone came up to me and said, do you want a Lamborghini Aventador or a Ford GT? I'm gonna go with that Lamborghini.
Well,
You know, like,
but what they did though, Ford kind of shot themselves in the foot by limiting and picking the owners.
Yeah.
Now they have a car floating around that wasn't picked by Ford, and it's just going to the highest bidder. So what they did is now they created a very, very exclusive market for this Ford GT. And yeah, it might not be a Ferrari, it might not be a Lambo, it might not be a Pagani, you know, it might not be something like that, but they made this car rare. Now, and what does it do with the people in the, with these people with a lot of money? They have to have that car that no one could acquire.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening.
Yeah, but
Basically, they made a collector's item.
They made a very big collector's item because this car is just gonna go up, you know. So
I don't understand that. So why not just like make a car that's stupid expensive and just sell it that way? Because the more money it's worth, the harder it's gonna.
well, you know what Ford can do is if they're not gonna be able to win it in court. So what they should do is say, okay, we're gonna make more Ford GTs, and we're gonna sell them to the public for $350,000 or $400,000, right? Knock $100K off of it, okay? And then what they do is tell the dealerships, put a restriction on the dealerships, so they can't mark up the car, and then just screw up the whole program.
Yeah,
And that's what Ford can do.
that's what they should do.
Because they should do that with all manufacturers of these vehicles and stop them from jacking up the prices on cars and, you know, making it harder for the public to acquire.
And that's probably what they will do. I
Honestly,
mean, if they're a smart company, which to be in existence for over a century, you kind of have to be. They'll probably figure out a way to bring the value of those cars down if they don't want the value of their own car to be so high. So I mean,
And then they sell the car. I mean, you know, we're sitting in here in the garage in West Covina. I have the solution to the problem. You know, you got all these CEOs and everything. You know what? Make another 1,000 Ford GTs and sell them. Sell them and put a restriction on the dealerships.
Yep.
There's your problem solved.
Problem solved.
Right there.
Speaking of expensive cars, let's roll into the second one. Let's talk about this rich, wealthy man who decided, he looked at his Pagani Zonda R and said that would be an amazing bedroom wall. And so this guy put a vehicle that's worth, I think, $2.3 million. It's a $1 million car up on his bedroom wall in his apartment. Not his house, it's an apartment. Like, it's, I mean, of course we have a picture of, but like.
Well, he just turned the definition of garage queen into bedroom queen. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, you had your guys that parked their car in their big warehouses and never touched them. Now this guy has it in his house, you know, and obviously he's not able to drive it.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
There's a pole for it now, but
so this is a fully functioning car.
it was his old car, not old. It was his car, and he was like, "It's just sitting here. I'm gonna put it up as my bedroom wall. I love this car so much."
Maybe he didn't have enough room in his garage, so he had to place it in his bedroom.
I want to know if he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna put this as my bedroom wall." What the hell else does he have that he didn't want to put as bedroom wall? Like, that's what I want to know. And I'm also mad because that is a beautiful car and it is now a wall. Like, it should be driven around and it should have feelings and a family that loves it, and it's a wall.
Well, maybe he's selfish. He only wants to see it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want nobody to see it.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
It's, you know what? It's probably the opposite of what you just said.
He's not a sharing person.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is probably literally his most prized possession, and he's so selfish that he doesn't want to share it with the world.
Yeah.
The best way to do it is to put it in your bedroom. But the joke's on him because he was the one that took a picture of it and uploaded it to the internet.
And it went viral on the UK side of things. It is all over the place.
Is this guy in the States or he's over?
I think he's in the UK.
Okay.
But it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've always thought about, like, and I went and made sure. I was like, okay, maybe he just went and got like a casting of the car and got it painted and made it look like the car, but it's a real Zonda. And I'm kind of like, well, I want to know how Pagani feels about it. Like, hey,
Yeah,
your
that's a good
car's
point,
on
actually.
the wall.
That's a good point because Pagani isn't mass produced like that.
No.
Like no one can.
You
You,
have to
don't
go
go to
order.
a Pagani dealership and say,
No.
"Oh, I want to pick that one."
No, you actually, I think you order your car
Yeah.
with Pagani.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you actually go over there and do your build, you know? So,
He said, he just went up to him and was like, I want a wall of your car. And they said, I don't know. I mean, it's oh my gosh. I can't even imagine like having that much money to be able to do that to that car. Because it's no longer functional. It's got a massive pole straight through.
I'm sure it's functional. They probably did some some very creative, structure things to make it so you can hang it. So.
Oh yeah, but what I mean like functional is that if he takes that thing off the wall, you can't just drive it.
Oh no, you're gonna have to put your fluids in. He probably drained all his fluids. And I've heard of people doing stuff like that with motorcycles, some antique motorcycles and stuff, having them in their living room or game room and stuff like that.
Totally see
But a car, you don't see that too often.
Not just a car, AJ. A car tilted on its side against the wall.
It's flat. It's literally separates his living room and his bedroom.
Well, yeah, so you can see the underside. You got to see the underside, the top, the sides.
It hurts me. It hurts me so much. And I'm gonna roll in from unfunctional cars into this recall that just happened. Let's talk about those poor demons that thought they were so cool.
They're still cool.
And now they're getting recalled because they're gonna die.
Yeah. So supposedly they have a problem with their cruise control function. And it's not something simple where you put your car in cruise control and it just shuts off. No, you're gonna be doing, I don't know. I don't know how high they can set their cruise control, but it just does not shut off. So that could be a problem when you're in your Demon if you have your cruise control on. And I don't think it's actually just limited to the Demon. I think it's to the SRT line. I think it's for the SRT line because they share some of the same electronics and computers. So yeah, that could be a problem. So if you guys have a Demon, check your mail and make sure you take your car in, or just don't use your cruise control.
Or
don't use your cruise control because you might be cruising too fast.
Or we will harbor your demons here in a safe environment until this whole thing blows over.
I can't guarantee it'll still be there.
I would jack a demon, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Shit Talking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have anything you want us to talk about, talk shit about, don't forget to go to theenginebase.com and submit it.